Well, hello and welcome back to another video. Now today I'm out on a lovely sunny day to do a bit of lure fishing for bass, but something a little bit different today. I have a brand new rod to try out. Now this is the new lure fishing rod from Samson Fishing called the Samson Fishing Longcast. I'll explain a little about the rod because it's a 30 to 100 gram lure rod and it's 12 foot long. Now I know what a lot of you will be thinking, it's way too overkill for the fishing that I do, that many of us do around the UK, which there could be some truth in that. However, I must admit I wouldn't usually use a 12 foot rod. 9 foot or 9.5 is probably maximum what I'd usually go for. However, there's a few slight different things about this rod. First of all, for a 12 foot rod, it is extremely lightweight. And I mean very, very lightweight. Don't quote me on this, but I believe it weighs something like 275 grams. It's a really lightweight lure rod. Now on here I've got a size 3500 pen slammer. I've got 22 pound braid with a 20 pound fluorocarbon leader. And I have a top water lure, which is also from Samson Fishing. This is the newer lure that they've released called the Shad. This is the 30 gram version. Now, I'm going to be fishing today for bass. I'm not 100% confident here. It's middle of the day, it's bright sunshine, but really I haven't even touched this rod yet. I've just set it up just today, so this is my first time out with it. I've not even cast it yet. I've got brand new braid on the reel, so I need to get that wet. I just want to get a feel for the rod. We may catch a bass, which would be an absolute bonus. But we'll just see how it goes. Now, one of the benefits of having a longer rod, obviously, you're going to have a lot longer casting range. You're going to be able to cast that lure a lot better. Like I said, this throws between 30 and 100 grams, but I'm told that it can fling out a 10 gram lure no problem whatsoever. Now, another advantage of it is you can steer fish a little bit better around rocks that are in front of you if you're fishing over a really snaggy ground with exposed rock. So it can come in handy for that, and it's also got a lot of power behind it. I know that Grant has done lifting weights with this and literally lifting big 5, 6, 7 kilo weights with it, deadlifting it off the floor. So yeah, it's definitely got a lot of strength in it for such a lightweight rod. Anyone who's seen Grant's videos will see him lifting huge bass out the water, so that can be beneficial when you're fishing high up on rocks or you just can't find anywhere suitable to land them. So as I said, I'm just going to be trying this rod out today, casting a few lures. If we catch a fish, it's going to be a bonus. So let's see how we get on and see how this rod performs. You will not believe this. This is the first cast I've had and I'm into a bass already. Unbelievable. I haven't got the other camera on. Unbelievable. You could not write this. Oh, he's going a little bit. It's only a small one, I think, yeah. That is absolutely amazing. Now let's put it to the test. Lift that fish up. Oh my God. Oh my God. Right. I'm going to keep this camera on to show you. Whoa. Oh my God, wow. Check that out. Check that out. My lure's just popped straight off my my lure clip there. Wow, right. As you can see, I've got the other camera here. I'm going to put this on now. Right, I'll get this lure out this fish's mouth, which might be a bit tricky, seeing as the that's really crazy. I hope that lure's not broken. But here we go, look. That's his first cast. Honestly, I can't believe this. My lure clip's not damaged, so that's come off in a really odd way. I've had that happen once before. But yeah, let's get this bass. Whoa. Okay, buddy. Do you know what I thought? I thought I'm going to have one cast with it first because, like I said, I've got brand new braid on there, so I just wanted to wet the braid, and I was just sort of working the lure like that, not tapping it like I normally would on my smaller rod, and I got slammed, and I don't know what else to say. It's only a small bass, but I really don't care. Right, I've got one hook out. Come on, mate. Yes, there we go. He's off. But there we go. The Samson Shad and the Samson rod. It's only a small bass, but I really couldn't care less. I'm so happy, man. So happy. Unbelievable. I'm gonna get a photo with it next to the rod, and then we'll get this little guy back. Absolutely crazy. The very first cast ever with the Samson fishing rod, and we hooked into a little bass. Now I know it's only a small bass, I really know. I've got it here in this pool. He's very lively. Okay mate, you're gonna go back in a sec. Now I should really get a lure in the water again straight away, because there could be a few about. There he is, under control. So one little bass on the Samson Shad and the new Samson Longcast fishing rod. Crazy. Let's get it back. Here we go, buddy. As I said, first cast, I wanted to wet the braid. So I'm going to put the camera on now, I'm going to cast out and show you exactly what I was doing with the retrieve. Like I said, I wasn't tapping it away like I normally would. It was more long pulls, because it's just a different, the lure feels completely different on a much longer rod. So I'll put the camera back down, get a second cast out there, and let's hope we can find another fish. This has been an unreal start, can't believe it. So let's get out with a second cast. Now the only thing that concerns me is how that lure came off, but let's throw it out there. Now this is what I did, just cast out, and I'm not really pinging that, but believe me, it's going a long way. And then I wind in the slack, so there's quite a bit of slack there in this wind, and then just pull in the lure like that. Fast motion, a little bit slower. Oh, I'm on. Oh, that could have been weed actually. This lure does sink, so just going to check that lure for weed. Yeah, I am winding kind of quickly because this lure sinks, and in front of me it's all really rough right in front, and I don't know if you can see under the water, but there's weed. There's like bootlace weed in front of me, and it's also further out as well. So if you let that lure sink, then more than sort of a foot, 2 foot maximum, you just risk getting snagged up. I've already lost the 25 gram version of this lure, or the 20 gram, I can't remember which one. So I'd rather not lose another. But I cannot believe that. It didn't even give me a chance to really get used to the rod or how the lure's feeling. You can probably obviously tell in my voice, I'm pretty excited about that. I can see that lure in front of me now. And just by going like this, may or may not be able to tell on camera, but the lure slaloms like that. So every time you pull the rod, the lure goes like that, and then you pause it, and then it goes like that again. It's got a brilliant, really erratic action, this lure. Really is one of my favourites out of the Samson range. So I'm going to try tapping it a little bit now. Might just raise that rod tip. Just going to vary it up. You wait, that'll be the only fish of the session now. Be the first cast curse. So that's going to do it for this spot. I think it's completely dead. Turns out I'm pretty lucky to get the one bass straight away, but so happy about that. First cast with the new rod, first fish, can't complain. What I'm going to do, I'm going to be out fishing with this rod quite a bit over the next few weeks and months, but I might hit another spot later on, but that'll be in a few hours time. So yeah, I'll see you then. So welcome back. Now it's the next day and I'm out again to do a bit of fishing using this Samson rod. So I've come out early this morning. I'm only here for an hour today because I've got some part-time work I'm doing later on today. But I'm going to be throwing out some lures. I'm actually going to start with a floating surface lure today and just see how we get on. It's early in the morning. There's a few birds having a look in the water. Nothing hitting the surface, but hopefully with it being early morning there's going to be some fish around here. So let's get straight to it and see if we can find one. Oh yeah, thought I saw a splash then, and we're on. I lost the lure for a second there and just happened to see that splash, and it was that bass. This is the third cast I've had. It's only going to be a small one. Oh, he's putting up a fair scrap though. Oh, he's in that weed. So yesterday it was first cast out with this new rod. Today it's the third cast, and again, only a small bass. However, absolutely excellent in that morning sunshine. First thing in the morning, couldn't ask for more. Off you go, buddy. So I've just changed lure to the 20-gram shad. I'm going to fire this out there. Now it's getting pretty shallow. You can probably see all that weed in front of me now. So I'll be working this as close to the top as possible, but I will let it sink a bit. And this lure could pick up some bass, could pick up any mackerel, if there's any mackerel around this morning. So just a one bass today, which to be honest I'm happy about anyway. I was really late in the tide this morning. I've only been here 35 minutes, but I'm gonna call it a day now. When it gets this dead, you might get the odd straggler, but I highly doubt it. So yeah, one more bass, another one on the new rod. So that's 2 sessions and 2 fish. And as I said earlier, I'll be out again loads over the next few weeks and months. So yeah, I'll be adding that to this video and tell you about this rod and how I get on with it, and if it could benefit you of any in any way. So yeah, that's all for this morning. So I'll see you on the next session. So I'm back out again today. Going to be fishing with the Samson Longcast rod. Now I've literally just got here, as you can tell. Just set the rod up. Now I've been working all day. I've come out just for a quick 45-minute little session. And the reason for that is I bought my head torch just in case, because that sun, as you can tell behind me, is just set. So it's going to get dark pretty soon. I only intend to be out for 45 minutes fishing over high water, but I bought my head torch obviously because that light's going to fade pretty quickly. Now the reason I'm out today is to throw out and try this for the first time. This is the new Samson Shad. Now this is the newest version. The shads I've been using are the sort of first editions, or whatever you want to call them. Now I've had a few bass on the Samson Shads, but these ones here, this one is obviously in the chartreuse colour, which is just bright yellow. This is the 30-gram version. I haven't studied the proper differences between them yet. I think they do have a slightly different profile at the front here, but I've literally just taken that out the packet, and I wanted to get here as soon as possible whilst it's still daylight. So as I said, the Samson rod, 30 to 100 gram. On there I've just got a pen slammer, 3,500, and we're going to throw this lure out and hopefully find a bass. I'm on. Nice little take that. Could be foul hooked possibly. Hope you can see all right on the camera. That didn't take long. Guys, going now. Look at that. Whee! Right. Let's get down here. Good thing with a long rod and a heavier rod, providing he stays on there, can certainly handle that. I'm going to lift him out, and that is not a bad bass. Right, let's get up there and we'll sort him out. So there we go, first bass on the brand new Shad. That's the 30-gram version. Lovely little take that. I was just working it with a few sort of long pulls, short pulls, working it about a foot below the surface, and we got hit by that bass. Great stuff. So that's the fish unhooked. Now I'm losing daylight pretty quickly, so I'm not sure how well you'll see, but not a giant bass. About 2.5 pounds. There we go. Lovely job. And off she goes. So a nice little start that. I think that was 3rd or 4th cast in, and yeah, hit pretty well that bass. So before I waste any more daylight, I feel quite rushed. I've got here, got a lure in the water straight away. I've not got long at all, and I'm not going to stay into darkness, not tonight. But yeah, so happy to get one on the new Shad. The ones I've been using the all white colours as well, so nice to know that the yellow or the chartreuse or whatever it's called, so that's just pronunciation, I'm not too sure how to say it. It's nice to know that one's working. I did think low light levels, bright yellow lure is going to do well. That's the reasoning behind it. But yeah, less talking, let's get a lure in the water and see if we can get another one. Now what I was finding with the first few casts was the wind was taking a lot of line, giving me a big bow in the line. I was losing contact with the lure. So what I've done is actually let it settle a little bit. It's a bit of a gamble because if it sinks a little too much, it's going to get snagged up. But I've let it settle just a little bit more, and then, not sure how well you can see, I'm just giving it 2 or 3 pulls like that and then let it sink. And what it does, I can see the lure when it gets a bit closer in. It gives a really nice like slalom action. It's just imitating anything which is sort of fleeing or injured, doing what your typical top water lure will do really. But the difference between these is obviously you can let them sink. So when the bass aren't hitting the surface and committing fully, it's nice to have that different option of going a little bit deeper. Obviously over shallow ground like this, I'm only going to let it sink by a foot. When it's further out, I'll let it sink by about 2 foot max, but what you have is big boulders. It's all rough ground, there's no clean bits here. But there's the occasional big boulder, so if you just pick the wrong patch, you risk losing it. Second cast back in, I'm into another bass in the exact same spot. I'll get the light on to see if that makes any difference at all on the camera. Just a little one. I think this one's a lot smaller. I can just wind this one in. Might even be able to lift it up here. There we go. There we go. Lure's out. This one's a lot smaller, but he's sure as hell feisty. Bass number 2. Quite long for its size, that one. Very skinny. But still nice to see another bass. So hopefully you can see me a bit better there. Just got my head torch shining on me. Another bass fallen victim to the new lure. Now I lifted that fish up onto these rocks by ease. Obviously it's only a £1.5 pound fish, but trying to do that on a lighter lure rod, it's going to be a bit sketchy. But yeah, so much strength in these rods. Be nice to hook into a really big one day and really put it to the test. Not that I need to test them though. They've obviously gone through their paces with Grant and many other anglers all over Europe catching fantastic fish on them. But they're a very nice rod to use, really light for the size of it. Don't be put off by the weight. They're very lightweight. Now it is pretty much dark, but I'm going to give it 4 or 5 more casts. I've only had about 6 or 7 casts, I think. So we'll give it another bash and see what we can find.